Good morning and welcome to Government House for this momentous occasion. Today we are here for a special announcement between the Virgin Islands Port Authority and the Office of Governor Albert Bryan, Jr. My name is Richard Mota, Government House Communications Director, and behind me, I'll take this opportunity now to introduce a few folks who will be speaking more in detail about today's special announcement. I'll start with Mr. Willard John, who is the board chairman of the Virgin Islands Port Authority, Mr. Carlton Dow, the executive director of the Virgin Islands Port Authority, Mark Melson, the chief investment officer of TKO Star, and Steve Nakin, president of AECON Concessions. Please, before we begin today's special announcement, I'd like to just share some housekeeping notes. Please turn your phones off or put them on vibrate if you haven't done so already before we officially start today's proceedings. And so with that being said, I'd like to introduce our first speaker today, Mr. Willard John, the board chair of the Virgin Islands Port Authority. Mr. John.
Good morning. Good morning. Governor, Lieutenant Governor, President of the Legislature, and everybody else. This is a momentous occasion. This process began more than 3 years ago. The idea was germinated in the mind of our executive director, and all credit to him. It's been a 3-year process. We had 8 applicants, went down to 4 to 2, and we finally picked VIports. Trust me, they have been vetted adequately by our assistants in the board and everyone else that helped us through this process, our advisors, and we picked them, and we are assured that the end result is going to be something that we'll all be proud about. You know the old saying, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And when these ports are done, that first impression would be quite impressive. Having said that, on behalf of the board, we're happy to be here and we're happy to be a part of this process.
Now we will hear from Executive Director Carlton Dow. Mr. Dow.
Good morning. Folks that know me know that when we're doing something of this sort, we ain't in church, Attorney Fraser. So, good morning. Good. This is a day that all of us should be rejoicing in. That's what Roosevelt would tell you the Lord have said. This is a day that the Lord has made, so let us rejoice and be happy in it. I want to say a special good morning to former Governor John P. DeYoung, our current delegate, Ms. Stacy Plaskett, one of our board members, Mr. Derek Gabriel. I'll get to you guys later on. As I look around, any other senators in here, former senators that's here, David and others, and the 16th senator of the legislature, Mr. James Lewis. And I'd also like to recognize, I was looking around, sorry, I'm looking this way. I'd also like to recognize the Lieutenant Governor of the Virgin Islands. Oh, you're former senators too? Man, it's been so long, I forget you are senator. Anyhow, I also want to recognize the President of the Legislature, Mr. Nobel Francis, and of course, the Governor of the Virgin Islands, Mr. Albert Bryan, Jr. I'd like to also recognize our friends, our visitors in VIports. These folks seem like they chartered a candidate of some other airline to be present with us. So those of you, you're not seeing everybody up here. So those of you who came and as a part of VIport, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. I also would like to recognize the governor and cabinet, those cabinet members. We really appreciate you being here because all of us in this together. This is a historic moment for the Virgin Islands. Historic in the sense that it took real innovation, creativity to get us where we are today. We expect that we will embark on a process that would bring us new facilities to the territory. The new terminals would improve the travelers' arrival and departure experience and solidify the Virgin Islands. Their position, our position, as a #1 tourist destination or airports in the Caribbean and the world for that matter. But why use this process? We use this process because this method has been successful in other arenas. But most of all, we're not asking the taxpayers of this community to bear the burden of finding the money to do this project. We are using private money to do a major public good. The P3 project is nothing new, nothing strange. This has been used all over the world and continue to be used. Building bridges, hospitals, schools, etc. There's a major benefit as we talk about this community and the people. The cost of hundreds of millions of dollars, the Port Authority don't have it. And that's why we must turn to individuals, companies, and so forth who could assist us in that. We expect that we would see more efficient operations, people who do this for many, many years all over the globe. Our partners are no Johnny-come-lately to the aviation industry. They work, develop, build, manage airports throughout the United States and some of the Caribbean. In fact, ironically, just yesterday, there was a news alert that came out of Anguilla indicating that our parking lot is now going to be transformed because we have now agreed to start construction rebuilding the Anguilla airport. There's always this question that the airports, man, they're selling, they're giving it away, is going to be privatized. Well, I want to say to the public today that we're not talking about privatization here. The assets of the airports will remain, and I want to make sure I emphasize, the assets of the airport would remain assets of the Virgin Islands Port Authority and by extension, by the government of the Virgin Islands. So there's no exchange of these assets. But more than that though, because of what we're doing today, and nothing wrong with when you venture off into something new, the anxiety level of anyone, to include our employees, will be high. And that is why in our early discussions with our partners, we have made it abundantly clear, and they too have made it clear to us, there is no interest in terminating, getting rid of no employee. All the Port Authority employees that work in the aviation sector will in fact be offered employment. And none in the offering would be able to be paid less than they currently make. No, I could pay them more, but not less. The authority will remain the certificate holder for the FAA certification, will continue to be a 139 airport. So all the federal grants that we normally get through the FAA will still continue. I said that and then I looked at the delegate, right? But they will still continue. This journey, like our board chair said, how long it took, and you have to be patient with me. This was 3 years. 3 years of putting this up, man. It's 3 years, so we have to let it out today. So the first set of folks that we met with when this idea was hatched was the employees of the Virgin Islands Port Authority, to assure them that this was never about the employees, but what it continued to be about is this territory, the future, and our livelihood, and the bread and butter of this community. We made sure that we met with the FAA. We met with the senators at the time, the delegate at the time, and still currently the delegate today. We met with all the airport tenants. We met with the airlines because we wanted to be as transparent, straight up, and as frank as we can, and making everyone recognize and understand this is about our territory. And we really welcome those meetings that we had. But we went further than that. We met with all the stakeholders, Chamber of Commerce. We invited the Hotel Association. For me, one of the greatest things is when we went out to the public. We didn't just do this and then say, hey, we're going to move down the road. We went to the public. Meetings were held in St. Thomas. Meetings were held in St. Croix. But St. Croix is so nice, we had to do it twice. We went to Christiansted, and by extension, we left and went down to Frederiksted and invited the public and the community to be a part. Got valuable discussions out of them. There were some folks with all these P3 stuff were going on. I asked my employees to look. There is 2 gentlemen I've never seen in my life following us to every meeting. They represented several companies, but one of them is here today. So more you could wave to the people. When we start this out, though, we start out with a forum, and thanks to the brilliance of Mr. Larry Belinsky and our entire team. And we did a charrette. We brought in folks. Over 9 companies from all over the world came to this territory. So I also want to recognize Mr. Sean Miller because he made his facility available to us. And at the same time in St. Croix, Mr. William Bulkey made his facility available to us. And from all what was done, we were able to then start to wind things down, and it left us with 2 companies standing. 2 good companies, either of which we believe could do this project. So we're not taking anything away from anyone. But in the final analysis, the staff, the people that evaluated this project, we found that VIport to be that company that we are going to partner with. I was wondering. So we issued an RFP. The boards had the folks shortlisted. We did site visits. Employees, board members, and so forth were able to visit airports that everyone that had given us proposal and was shortlisted, we were able to see airports that they either operate or they have built or designed. We received the compliant bids, and then we moved forward in the process. Our board approved March 26th in a special board meeting that we should continue with VIport. So today, April 5th, has brought us to where we are today in terms of the transition agreement that we expect to embark on. And I say, talk about this transition, the Port Authority have already put together their transition team, which will be led by Ms. Anis Hodge. Wave Ms. Anis Hodge. Time is now waiting for us, though. So we expect in about 9 months, Anis, and VIport, 9 months, we expect that this whole transition period would happen, begin, and end. 9 months. Enough to get a baby. The selected 3P partner will provide VIPA with all kind of rebuilding and so forth, design. The terminal developer will rebuild both airports, Sika and Hira. And one of the things we have made abundantly clear, we're not starting one and then starting the next or waiting. I believe in one of the things that former President Reagan had said, trust but verify. So we will verify that both airports will start approximately the same time. So there'll be no question as to our seriousness and commitment to the territory. These folks, VIports, they operate right now, like I told you, in different places in the Caribbean. One of the things we look to make sure, though, whether or not these companies have the capacity to do what they say they are going to do. Therefore, with the help of our financial people, we know, we are assured that the capital that would be needed, hundreds of millions of dollars to rebuild both airports, VIports have that capacity to deliver what they said that they will deliver. Now, I just would like to quickly get to a couple things, and that is this. We expect to have a building that, on both islands, that would be energy efficient. That's important and that's critical. The Port Authority, as we speak, spend in excess of $4.5 million each year for utility. We have the sun out there. We must do something about that kind of cost. The passengers and what the passengers experience, the marketing, and I'm glad that Steve is out of Canada. Hands were still cold when I shook them. Steve out of Canada, we want to see, and for the VIports to really see a good rate of return, they must grow the market. So we expect to see whether it's Air Canada or some of these international flights landing at Rolston Airport, a runway with over 10,300 square feet. Same thing. So we expect growth. We're not doing this because we don't expect growth. The King Airport was designed to accommodate some 300,000 people, passengers, years ago. Today we have seen some 750,000 people go through the same footprint. I don't think we need to ask ourselves why we are doing this. Moreover, there was no TSA then. So in that building, you had to carve out space for TSA. And I want to recognize our good friend CBP. Everybody probably, man, CBP can open another area. Well, Mr. Todd Ballou is here. I gave my hand in my open one. That's CBP's chief for CBP, and we expect that the involvement of all of this, we would see enhancement to CBP and TSA as we see it. We expect that the plans are to begin groundbreaking. This would go for naught, but I have given the instructions. My staff, the board, have given me my instruction that 2025, the fourth quarter of 2025, we expect shovel in the ground and construction to start in this territory. We don't have a lot of time. And the reason we don't have a lot of time is because the rest of the world, nor the Caribbean, is sitting idly by, waiting for the Virgin Islands. And as I wrap up, I really want to thank all the staff that we have that's been intricately involved. It's not about Carlton Dow. It's about putting a team of people and individuals who understand what the mission is all about. And I want to turn to Governor Albert Bryan and sincerely, publicly thank him. Simply because you don't do this kind of deal, you don't do this kind of thing without serious involvement and true help from the administration. You don't do this kind of deal because issues are going to arise. And each and every time we had a bump in the road, we was able to turn to the governor and ask that he see us sometime at the spur of the moment, if you know how I operate. But he was always willing to meet with us as a team and discuss what the issues were, and through the support, we were able to remove whatever hurdle there might be and get us to this place, to this. I really want to thank Governor Albert Bryan for his complete involvement in what we did. Leadership dictates that at times we must use the best information available to us and don't be afraid to make the decision, regardless of where the chips might fall. Regardless if the same three people call and cuss you, we have got to stand up to what we know to be right based on information. That's what we have to rely on. So each member of this the governing body at the Port Authority, Mr. Derek Gabriel, Mr. Willard John, the acting AG, what am I missing? Miss Leona Smith. Let me start over. Commissioner Joe Bushelter. Somebody say I'm missing somebody. Let me start over. Ladies and gentlemen, the one person that we know wanted to be here but is out of the territory, and he only called my phone about 5 times this morning. But really, and he said he's watching too, but I want to, throughout this process, I really appreciate the wise counsel, and Senator White reminded me of the days being in the legislature of the Virgin Islands, in terms of how he still believed he was a majority leader throughout the process, and according to him, I don't count votes. So, Senator White, we really thank you, and all the members, and the entire governing body. As I walk away from here, I want to remind all of us with one thing, though. The lady that's looked at in the Caribbean and maybe in the world, perhaps, she gave outstanding speech to the cruise ship convention a couple of years ago. She did an outstanding talk at the United Nations years ago. So in the Caribbean, that's the person now they start to say, well, hey, that's a true leader, which is Mia Motley. And that's fine. She's a leader in the Caribbean, and I respect that. And you know, late in December, she met with the Chamber, Commerce, the entire business community in Barbados, and said to them, Barbados does not have $300 million to rebuild the Grantley Airport in Barbados. Therefore, come by the first quarter of 24, I will be announcing to the people of Barbados that have entered and engaged in a public-private partnership with some private folks and also the folks out of Dubai. The rest of the world and the Caribbean is not waiting for the U.S. Virgin Islands. The time to act is now. Thank you. I left the other part out, which is down now.
I was actually going to say that. So I was intentional in leaving the recognitions to Mr. Dow. I don't think there's a person in this room he didn't recognize while he was giving his remarks. With that said, I will now like to call to the podium Mr. Mark Melson and Steve Nakin from VIport's partners.
Thank you. I want to thank Virgin Islands Port Authority. They've really entrusted us with this important project. We recognize we're serving the unique needs of both St. Thomas and St. Croix and the citizens of the Virgin Islands. Everyone is going to benefit, everyone's going to participate, and it's going to be a wonderful project. Today is a great day to celebrate, but we're just starting a journey at this point in time. We're going to be together as long-term partners for a long time. That partnership is committed to the redevelopment and the modernization of both airports, and then we're going to operate those airports. I think it's important for the public and for this room to understand who VIport's partners are. We've been purpose-built. Team came together with everybody serving their roles to meet the very needs of this project. Together, we have the capabilities and experience to provide a world-class operation and to deliver transformative infrastructure. So I work for TKO Star Infra. We focus on investing in, financing, developing critical infrastructure all over the United States. We bring our experience structuring finance for these public-private partnerships. These things cost a lot of money. We know we have our money, and we also know where to get institutional capital, debt, and other things that are going to go into the building of this project. We're part of TKO Capital. That's an international global asset manager. Assets under management of TKO Capital, our parent company, are 43.2 billion euros as of the end of 2023. So, as was just said, we have the money necessary to build this job. Our development and investor partner, AECON, brings specialized and diverse strengths to the development of public-private partnerships all around the world, including many transportation infrastructure projects, most notably among them, the Bermuda International Airport, where they're delivering integrated airport solutions at an operating airport, much like this airport. AECON will also lead our construction team alongside a very important local partner, J. Benton Construction. They both have proven experience, both in the United States and the Virgin Islands. Benton has hired many local employees, many subcontractors, many local suppliers, and we welcome all of them on this project. That joint venture of AECON and J. Benton has deep experience building major infrastructure projects, including work at airports all across the region. Last but certainly not least, we've enlisted VIports to the team. They're a best-in-class airport operator. They have been doing this for 97 years. When we met earlier, somebody questioned whether there were airplanes 97 years ago, but indeed there were airports. People dressed up a lot more to get on planes in those days, but there were airplanes in 1990 for 97 years. Anyway, they are one of the most experienced airport operators and managers throughout the United States. They've operated, managed, and developed more than 30 airports, some of which we visited, and aviation infrastructures across the United States. But enough about us, because ultimately this project is about the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands and what it can do for your long-term economic and social well-being. This can be the start of something that really can spread and really cause development all across both islands. We're ready to roll up our sleeves. We're ready to get to work on this partnership. I want to next introduce Steve Nakin, the president of AECON, to continue talking about our role. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm learning. Thank you for the warm welcome. We're thrilled to be here with you today to speak about this historic project. We're here to forge a long-term partnership with the Virgin Islands Port Authority and the businesses and people of the U.S. Virgin Islands to transform the Cyril E. King and the Henry E. Rolson airports in St. Thomas and St. Croix, each airport with its specific needs and unique cultural and natural heritage. This project is happening at a critical inflection point for the U.S. Virgin Islands. As you all know too well, the Virgin Islands are emerging from a long, hard road of many setbacks, including a string of devastating natural events, trauma of the global pandemic, and significant financial challenges before and after those events. But we sense that most residents of the Virgin Islands are now filled with optimism about the future, and we are too. We fully understand the significance of this moment, and we gladly take up the challenge and responsibility to help present the best of the U.S. Virgin Islands to the world through two world-class gateways. Your airports are mission-critical infrastructure, their modernization and resilience being key to everyday life here, and their redevelopment being vital to the territory's economic revitalization and vision of prosperity. We believe the project in itself will be a major catalyst to growth, including sustainable local employment, tourism, and opportunities for local businesses of all shapes and sizes. It will be a center of gravity a magnet for opportunity. These mega projects always are. With 25 years of experience in developing infrastructure around the world, I am passionate about and have seen firsthand the immeasurable generational impacts of airport redevelopments. Simply put, this project is not just an exercise in bricks and mortar. It is imbued with a tremendous sense of purpose. And for all of you that are involved and will be involved in making it happen, it will be your lasting legacy. It is no coincidence that ACON's purpose is building what matters to enable future generations to thrive. We're committed to the highest possible level of local involvement, from construction supply chain to local food and beverage businesses, hotels. You'll see us everywhere. Shops and support industries, the list goes on. We will endeavor to shop local. The positive impacts of the project will cascade in a very real way through the entire value chain here. Importantly, as mentioned before, all current airport employees have guaranteed offers of employment, and we look forward to helping them during the transition and working alongside them to develop their careers as we develop these two transformational airports. Both unique airports will be a living extension of their communities, reflected in our embracing of local engagement and design sense of place, something we take to heart. As we now embark on and move through the final development phase, we're confident in measured outcomes, including dramatically improved service levels and capacity, modernized amenities, transformed passenger experience, enhanced resilience and sustainability. There are many thanks to give out today. I must first thank the Virgin Islands Port Authority for managing a fair and well-run competitive procurement process. We've been through many, and this has been the best. Not an easy task, to say the least. Thank you for your trust in selecting VIPort's partners as your long-term partner. Thank you to the VIPA board, executive under the leadership of Carlton Dow, management team, who have been an absolute pleasure to work with. Thank you to the expert advisors of VIPA, Frasca and Associates, Pasley Group, Mayor Brown, and others, who were instrumental in paving the way. And thank you to our brilliant VIPort's team. You've poured your energy and creative talents into developing this world-class project. I'm so proud of you. We look forward to delivering this landmark project with our valued client and world-class partners, and to becoming major investors in the US Virgin Islands and part of the local community, all driven by a shared commitment to delivering enduring social impact and a lasting legacy for the US Virgin Islands. The time for this project is now, or as the executive director likes to put it, Dow now. Thank you.
Just quickly, just wave your hand. I really want to recognize our legal team. Mayor Brown, come wave, stand up, I can stand up. Thanks. They're headquartered out of Chicago, and we have local attorney, Ms. Jennifer Jones. She's not here today. Give her a round of applause, Attorney Jennifer Jones. And in St. Croix, we have attorney Trudy Fenster out of St. Croix. And on the other side, friends nevertheless, Attorney Adrian Dudley with the other side. And Kate just Kate stand up and the gentleman talk about Kate Davis. We can do big things around here. That's the lady who ran the entire procurement process with the help of the other staff. Kate, you did excellent. You did excellent. And no more employees are walking away from here, and my chief of staff said, lad, but they can't do nothing without me. Julius, Ali, stand up. Thanks, Julius.
Okay, so now I think we have everybody in the room for sure. Thank you, Mr. Melson and Mr. Nakin from VIPort's partners. Now we will have remarks from the Honorable Senator Novelli Francis, President of the 35th Legislature. Senator Francis.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Honorable Governor Albert Bryan Jr., Lieutenant Governor Tregenza Roach, Delegate to Congress, Plaskett, former Governor John P. DeYoung, Director of the Virgin Islands Port Authority, Governor Carlton Dow, now? I get those nows, believe it or not. Governor's Cabinet, family, friends, well-wishers, a pleasant good morning. So today's a great day for the Virgin Islands, and I had some anxiety and couldn't sleep this morning. It reminded me of my days when I worked for John P. DeYoung, and would be getting text messages or emails at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. So I took the time to at least document a few things. I stand before you today with deep sense of honor and privilege as I address you on behalf of the esteemed members of the 35th Legislature of the Virgin Islands. Today marks a significant milestone for the Virgin Islands. And it is my pleasure to extend heartfelt congratulations to the Virgin Islands Port Authority, Executive Director Carlton Dow, his exceptional leadership team, VIPA board members, and Governor Albert Bryan for their remarkable success in forging this transformative partnership. Together, they are leading the charge in elevating our territory's airport to world-class standard that our vibrant community rightfully deserves. The establishment of this joint venture with VIPort's partners couldn't come at a more pivotal moment. Our airports have become bustling hubs of activity, a testament to the thriving nature of our tourism industry. I commend Commissioner Joe Bushalty and his dedicated team for their outstanding efforts in raising our profile in both domestic and international markets. However, as we celebrate this growth, we must also acknowledge the pressing need for continuous investment and the availability of financial resources to sustain and enhance our tourism infrastructure. In essence, a destination as exceptional as ours demands nothing short of a first-class airport. It is our duty to ensure that Virgin Islanders and our valued visitors alike experience the highest standards of travel experience. Additionally, we must remain attuned to the needs of our elderly and our disabled population, ensuring that they too can travel with dignity and respect. Regrettably, our financial resources are finite and cannot fully accommodate our ambitious vision. Yet, I commend the foresight of the Port Authority in seeking innovative solutions that maximize our resources while minimizing financial risk. This public-private partnership with VIPort partners exemplifies such foresight, providing a blueprint for driving the territory's overall economic development forward during these challenging times. My esteemed colleagues of the 35th Legislature and I understand the pivotal role that transportation infrastructure plays in fostering economic growth. It is for this reason that we have steadfastly supported critical infrastructure improvements, such as allocation of $1.6 million in 2020 for the enhancement of the Henry Wilson Airport and the recent passage of legislation earmarking $17 million for the dredging of the Charlotte-Amalie Harbor. We stand united as your partners in advancing these vital capital projects that serve to stimulate economic development and growth within our beloved territory. We eagerly anticipate witnessing the tangible transformation that this partnership will yield. including the introduction of jet bridges, modern baggage systems, renovated terminals, buildings, and other cutting-edge amenities. Virgin Islanders have long awaited these improvements, and I'm profoundly grateful that this day has finally dawned through this groundbreaking P3 agreement with VIport partners. I extend a heartfelt gratitude to VIport partners for their unwavering commitment to our territory. Congratulations are in order for our dedicated men and women of the Virgin Islands Port Authority, whose tireless effort have contributed immeasurably to today's milestone achievement. To all who have played a role in this remarkable success, I offer my sincere thanks. God bless the Virgin Islands. God bless this P3 project. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Senate President Novell Francis. Now we will hear from the Honorable Tregenza A. Roach, Esquire, Lieutenant Governor of the Virgin Islands of the United States. Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremony. Good morning, Governor Bryan, Senate President Novell Francis. Good morning to our delegate to Congress, Stacey Plaskett, to Executive Director Carlton Dow, my high school classmate, former Governor John DeYoung, UVI Board of Trustees member Adrian Dudley, to the wonderful staff of the Virgin Islands Port Authority, the members of its board, and to our partners in this venture. And good morning, Virgin Islanders. We are really compelled to approach a historic moment with a reflection on our history, because our heritage in this territory is tied up in our ports. Whether they were the ports that the enslaved ancestors arrived at, or the ports that people come to today and enrich our quality of life. Just last night, I had a conversation with a student at the university who is from the Eastern Caribbean, the island of St. Kitts. And I asked him when he will go home, and he said, I'm only going to go home at the end of this semester. And when he goes home at the end of this semester, he's going to fly to New York, stay overnight, and then fly to St. Kitts the following morning. So when we have this conversation about ports, sometimes people miss the real significance of where we are, and in some ways how we have lost market. People who are traveling to the Eastern Caribbean, who make up a significant percentage of our population, are still faced with this, and others of our residents are faced with high costs of air travel in this particular instance. So this issue of port development is a critical one for our territory, and I welcome this partnership that will improve our ports. I'm so happy that Director Dow spoke about the capacity, and we're not just improving these facilities for the sake of improving them, but we expect a change in the paradigm that we now exist in, number one. And number two, this question of whether this can infer in anybody's mind any concern about ownership. Because the last vestige of our colonial past was this port that was owned by people as far away as Denmark, which we acquired in the 1980s. And so the assurances that we are moving forward with a partner that recognizes the history of this territory and recognizes that we are in no way, in any moment, to return to the past of ownership of ports outside of the territory is a significant item to underscore this morning. I want to thank all of the people, especially the Port Authority, the board, and its employees, and Director Dow for bringing us to this moment. And I am excited about the Virgin Islands taking its rightful place as a hub for the Caribbean, because we are a hub. We have supported the development of islands in this Caribbean by virtue of the monies that have left this territory through its migrant worker forces and have returned to enrich people in other places. And we look forward to the days when the transportation is made easier for residents who live outside of the territory and even for our residents between these islands. From St. Croix, who must pay as much as more than going to the mainland in some instances to come to St. Thomas. So these ports hold the potential to unify our people and to share the economic resources. If 900,000 people stay a week in St. Thomas, there's no way they should not be able to take a plane and hop over for a day trip to St. Croix at a reasonable rate of cost. And we look forward to that paradigm shift, and I believe that this is where it begins. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Honorable Albert Bryan, Jr., Governor of the Virgin Islands of the United States. Governor.
Good morning. Please be seated. Good morning, Lieutenant Governor Roach, Senate President Novell Francis, our delegate to Congress, Stacey Plaskett, Carlton Dow, the chair of the board, Willard John. Did I forget anybody? Our partners from ACON, of course. Good morning, James. Good to see you. And as well as VIport. I am so excited. You wouldn't believe it, I've been up since 3:30. You could ask the people I was texting, they know. Like, I am bursting with excitement because isn't God an awesome God? Amen. Oh man, I just tell you, I think back to being a commissioner under the tutelage of the great Governor John P. Young here and all the things that we dream about. It's like Christmas has come, brother. Thank you for being here this morning. You know, this has been an awesome week for me. I mean, I had breakfast with Senator Warnock of Georgia on Tuesday morning. I had dinner with Clyburn, Representative James Clyburn. I had the opportunity to play some golf with him. We had breakfast out at Buccaneer this week, and all of a sudden I noticed it was noisy. I have never been to the Buccaneer and it was noisy. And that's because there were so many tourists at the resort at the same time. And I told the waiter, I said, man, I've never seen it like this. He said, today's a slow day. So things are happening in the Virgin Islands all the time, and my God, to work in such miraculous ways that sometimes he puts me through the punishment. You know, I had to go travel down island this week. The first thing that happened is American Airlines canceled a flight to Miami. At which time I called ODR director who was to go with me, and she says, oh, I'm going back to St. Croix. I'm done with you. So my resident travel agent tried to hook it up. I had to leave from here, overnight in the BVI, to catch a plane in the morning, 8 o'clock, to Antigua, then catch a plane to, Trinidad, to catch a plane back to Barbados, and I'd be there at 12 o'clock at night. Got up in the morning, 8:15, the flight canceled to Antigua to go to Trinidad. But it worked out. And imagine my saltiness when I got to St. Vincent, and they had jetways. The nerve of them. And then it just so happens that on the day they were cutting the ribbon to us sandals. I was like, God, like, why? Like, you just like rubbing it in. I spoke to their prime minister, and he said, over 20 years ago, he had a conversation with Butch Stewart, who owns the sandal brand, and he said, Butch told him, if you build an airport, I will build a sandals. 23 years. That's vision and commitment. So when we talk about doing things like this, the one thing I want you to learn today is there's so many messages, but it's together, stronger than ever. And it behooves us to stand together because we have so many resources. I remember sitting as a board member, remember Vincent, back in the day? looking at the baggage makeup and the size of the airport and thinking, how are we ever going to get this airport in St. Thomas rebuilt? The tarmac problems, we're still working on to this day, where we had to rebuild and stuff. Where was the money going to come from? And with so much on my plate, I never, 5 years ago, somebody came to me, I can't remember the gentleman's name now, he said, we should do a 3P. I was like, the people at the Virgin Islands are never good for that. So too much to my surprise, when Dow came up, asked me for a minute, and said, we're going to do a 3P. I was like, let's do it. And being in leadership sometimes means you just have to get out the way and just push when needed, call when needed, prod when needed, and sometimes kick people in the butt when needed. So I really want to say thank you to Dow, because one thing if you're going to war, you head out front, you want to make sure you got people behind you. I would go to war any day with this man. It's just because people don't like change. We complain every day about how it is, but when we try to change it, we don't want to change. And Tregenza Roach came and said, change course now. And we said to the people, we're serious about tourism. It's 75% of our economy. So that's why not only one, but 2 airports are undergoing. That's why we have fixed this promenade. It's so beautiful when you come to St. Thomas. That's why no matter what, we're going to fix the rest. Right, Derek? That's why we committed $7 million to Frederiksted waterfront to put in the new dock and light the whole promenade. This is why we lighten the highway, why we're putting the money into Polly Joseph, why so much road work is being done. Another $6 million over Mahogany Road in St. Croix. And yes, that's why I need to find a partner to buy Mahogany Run, because we have to have a golf course in St. Thomas. Y'all got to clap for that. We can't do without it. This is our bread and butter, 75% of our economy. We have to put it in. And this administration, Tregenza and I, have made the promise, and we've kept the promise to do that. I will remind you, there was a lot of doubters when we brought Dow back to the Port Authority. All of them smiling and clapping now. We're not done yet. There's more that we want to do to make sure that we're serious about tourism. I gotta say special commendation to the tourism team, because Joe and his team are doing so much to bring people here. But bringing people here is not enough. We also have to make sure that the quality of vacation they have is up to par, that people have transportation to come from Ritz into downtown, or from Kramer's Park into Christiansted, to have dinner at a reasonable rate. We have to make sure that our hotels, yes, it's great to have the highest average daily rate in the Caribbean, but people are looking for affordable vacations. We have to make sure that we preserve our coral reefs, and that we make sure that there are moorings here for our beautiful yachts that come here. So today is a monumental day. I often think about where the decision was made to take down that mountain. Huh? Is that my name? Sarah Hill. I call it a mountain. And we, for years, listening to them bomb and blow up that thing. When you think it was Vieques, it was down at this thing. We are witnessing history today as we come to this partnership with ACON and VIports. And we need to start to look at the future of the Virgin Islands, because like Dow said, the rest of the Caribbean ain't waiting. I've gone and I've seen. They are coming to eat our lunch. I love them, but if you know me, I like to win. And win we will, with the leadership that we have at the port, the support we have in the legislature, the support we have coming from our delegate, Stacey Plaskett, and all of the support I get from my Lieutenant Governor as we change course and make this territory the best. Thank you all. Thank you to the Port Authority and the staff for putting this together.
Thank you, Governor Bryan. Ladies and gentlemen, we are near the close of today's press conference. We will now have the official signing of the transition document, and that will conclude today's press conference. Thank you.